Before we really get started, before we do this deep dive into who you are, I want to tell you that one of the best things you can do is keep this to yourself. Studies show when people prematurely share their goals or share what they want to do, it lessens the likelihood of them actually doing it. There are various reasons for that. Like, I'm looking at a study right now. I've heard this for years, and it's something I've experienced, and I'm going to tell you one of my own stories in a second, but there are studies that show when we openly share our goals, we experience a feeling of success that normally only takes place upon completion of the goal. The result is that we don't ever actually pursue the goal. This article, I'm going to put a link to it below, states that someone was in maybe a Facebook group or something where they were encouraged to share their goals because it means you're claiming it and it's supposed to keep you more motivated. But the truth was, people would get all these likes and comments and stuff, but then they would never actually achieve it because it's almost like counterintuitive. It just tricks your brain into thinking you've already done it, then you don't actually do it. Personally, the reason I wouldn't share it is because whether you realize it or not, there are a lot of people in your life who are rooting for you to fail. And it's not that they really don't believe in you, it's that they don't believe in themselves, they're projecting. Let me give you an example. In 2010, I had been an accountant for like 10 years by then. That's what I got my degree in, and that's what I did with my life. In 2010, a lot of it was I was not in the best marriage. I was very unhappy, put it that way. I'm not going to bash my ex-husband or go into detail. I'm just going to say I invented a story in my head. A lot of people will get into reading romance novels. Well, I got into writing them, mainly because I couldn't find one I wanted to read. I think I would have just become a reader. I've been reading on a 12th grade level since like kindergarten. I was tested, but I never really took on reading as a hobby. I don't enjoy it, but a lot of people do. Millions of people do. I'm more of a creator than a consumer. I had all these stories in me. Suddenly I just wanted to write. Well, so I started writing a story, and it had taken over my life so much, I didn't tell my ex-husband about it, and here's why. I mean, I didn't suddenly have this dream of being a writer. It's like I just felt like there was no other path for my life because this had taken my life over. At the time, I was studying for the CPA exam to get a raise at work. I worked in government at that time, and the only way I was going to get above my pay grade was if I got my CPA. So that's what I was doing, was studying for the CPA exam, which is a very hard exam if you don't know anything about it. People pay thousands of dollars just to study for it. It's not something you just walk right in and pass. I was studying for the CPA exam around the same time where this story took over, and I didn't tell my ex-husband about it. I didn't tell anyone. I just went online and did some research because I just wanted to know, is this something I could do the rest of my life? If I had a chance, like, can I actually write? I wasn't even a reader. I wanted to know, am I just stringing words together? What's going on? I found some advice that was the best advice I ever took, which said, don't take your writing to other writers. Like, don't go to critique groups. Just take it directly to readers. And at the time, self-publishing wasn't really a thing. I mean, it was. There were people sort of making money with it, but I actually saw the big self-publishing boom happen. It happened Christmas 2010 when the Kindle was the biggest selling Christmas gift of the year. Suddenly, self-publishing was a thing, and now it's old news, but at the time there were still a lot of people laughing at it. I couldn't find a place where I could just take it to reader. I finally found a website called Smashwords, which is still around. I thought it was a joke at the time. I uploaded a doc and suddenly it becomes a book and people were downloading it. Well, one thing led to another, and suddenly I had a best-selling book that I had published at Amazon. It's a long story. I'm glad I didn't tell anyone until I had to, because my ex-husband would have talked me out of it. In fact, he made fun of me. Like, when I first started doing it, you see, he was the writer. He had stuff published online and people knew about it and he would talk about it. I had never verbalized it. Even people who, after I became successful, I still don't tell people my pen names. I just didn't want their input. But people in person would say, well, I didn't even know that was something you wanted to do. Well, why should you know? I didn't tell anyone. I didn't even know. It's just something that kind of overtook my life. It wasn't something I pursued. I felt like it found me. Honestly, I'll probably never write another fictional book. I just don't have the will for it. I didn't like dealing with readers. I don't like living in that fictional headspace all the time. I did for a while until readers came along. I'll tell you the rest of that story later. What I'm getting to is, one of the best things I did was not tell my husband. He would have discouraged me. In fact, when I first started, I should have just kept writing and not worried about how to write, but I started buying these books about how to write. And he would make fun of me at first because he's like, oh, you're buying these how to write books, but you're only making $10 a month. I went from making $10 a month to making $20 to making $200 to making $5,000. That's just how online sales go. And many times I threw it back up in his face. I said, so you still making fun of me for those how to write books? And he'd say no. But guess what? If I hadn't gone ahead and published, I never would have done it. If I had asked his permission, if I had gone to him, if I had gone to anyone, they would have talked me out of it. I hope you don't watch this particular video and leave with the thought that, oh, you have to publish books at Amazon. Honestly, the bubbles kind of burst on that. Authors don't make nearly as much now. There are more readers now, but there's also a lot more books published. And Amazon's not the only place to publish, but they're by far the biggest, and they've changed things a lot. And what it taught me was not that I have to publish books at Amazon the rest of my life. With other retailers, I publish that too. It taught me that there is money to be made in digital products. I've seen people and made my own money elsewhere. Amazon isn't the only thing you have to do. This isn't about writing a book and publishing it to Amazon, although you can. I really think there are better ways to make money online, especially now. That was 2010. But what it taught me was I had never seen that level of success. I never would have known that I could be that successful with just a digital product. I was also published in paperback and audiobook, but the main money is in ebooks, which a lot of people pirate, don't even pay for. But it's just crazy to think we live in a time where you can sell a digital product. Amazon, again, please. It's not the only game in town. You can sell from your own website. You can sell courses. There's all these other avenues. I'm just saying you can make 6-7 figures with a digital product. Yes, you can. Even if you just want to make 5 figures, you can do that. Why set your goal that low, though? Anyway, in this article that I'm also going to post below, a lot of times we do that. We share our goals. We're not confident enough to do it ourselves. It's like we want permission, kind of like me. Like the whole reason I published, it wasn't because I thought I was good. I still don't think I'm good. It's that I wanted to see, am I just stringing words together? Like, am I even making sense? And there were people out there who think I'm good. There are people who think I suck. It doesn't matter. You're not going to worry about the ones who think you suck, okay? We're not going to concentrate on the negative. Truth be told, no matter what it is you want to do, as long as you're consistent and passionate about it, you're going to gain a following and you're going to do it. You don't need anybody's permission. Not your husband, not your wife, not your girlfriend, not your best friend, not your boss, not your professor. I didn't major in English in school. People used to write to me and think I majored in English. Heck no. I mean, I did well in English. I'd always been told that I could write, but it wasn't something I majored in. There were even grammar rules I didn't know until I started working with editors and started publishing books. No, I was not a trained writer at all. I was an accountant. Regardless of what your training is or isn't in, regardless of even if you didn't even finish school, maybe you only went to the 6th grade, who cares, okay? If you're passionate about something, if that's what you want to do, if you have an idea, yes, you can do it. That's why you need to keep things to yourself. I mean, once in a while, if you need someone's input, fine, but please, don't go out there just telling everybody, well, I'm taking this course and I'm going to do this, I'm going to be successful, because they're going to tell you that you're not. And that's just the truth about it. I mean, maybe you're lucky enough that you do have people in your life who are supportive. Most of the time they're not. Like if I had told people I was publishing books, I guarantee they would have tried to talk me out of it and I would have listened because I didn't have the confidence. Publishing gave me the confidence. Yeah, like I said, I had some people who didn't like me. But by then I already had people who liked me. Who am I supposed to listen to? The bad reviews or the ones who write to me and say, where's the next part of this book? This is my favorite book. Also, just taking a stab at just doing TikTok. I've had enough success there to show me that if I put more time into it, I could be more successful. So could you. If you have an idea in your head, personally believe there's a higher power that put it there, and you need to go with it. You need to just try it and do it, and don't be discouraged. Maybe you won't like the first thing you try, but if you find something you enjoy and you're passionate about, you are going to do it, and you are going to be a success with it. You don't need anybody's permission. You don't need anyone telling you you're good enough. All right? So just keep things to yourself. Don't let anyone steal your dream. I'm not saying you need to keep this completely on the down low, but people are not rooting for you. I guarantee if I had told people, oh, I found this new love of writing and should I publish? Number one, people are going to want to read my book and they're going to critique it and they're not going to like it. They're going to give me suggestions. It was going to get into my head and I never would have done it. Or they would have said, well, we'll call my ex-husband Mark. They would have said, no, Mark's the writer. Why doesn't he do it? Why don't you ask him? And it would have all been on him. I went behind his back and did it. It was the best thing I ever did. Do this for you. You were created with a purpose. And not just one purpose, but many purposes. That's between you and your higher power. Don't let anyone else get in your head. The more I've interacted with people online, on TikTok especially, the number one thing I see that holds people back is just confidence. Like people ask me stuff like, oh, do you think I should do audiobooks? Like, do I have the voice for audiobooks? You're not going to know until you try. You see, this is secondhand knowledge to me now because I've been doing this stuff for years. I don't wait for anyone to tell me that I'm good or bad at something. I just do it. You just got to try. But number one, see if you like it and see what other people think about it. How else are you going to know? That's what this course is about. Recently, over the past year, I tried to work with a friend. I've tried to work with a few friends. I don't know if she'll see this. She's really smart and capable of a lot, but things didn't work out. It didn't hit me till way late in the game that she just lacked confidence. We would talk, we would have long video calls where we talk about ideas, and I thought it was always understood that she would go off and try to do something and try to make something of this. Like an idea would just catch fire and that she would come back to me with her own ideas, but that's never what happened. It's like she was always waiting for me to hold her hand and walk her through it. That completely defeats the purpose of why I wanted to work with someone. That just gives me more to do. I mean, I've never waited for anybody to hold my hand and say, hey, here, do this. I just did it and accidentally became successful many times. And I believe anyone has that in them. It's not just me. Like when I published books, I was passionate about it, so I did well in it. When I was doing jewelry, I can't say I was passionate about it, but I showed up. I did good work. I did quality work. I knew how to take pictures. I knew how to do social media, so I did well in it. Now I'm selling other digital products, and they are ones I'm passionate. They are high quality. I did my market research and they are doing well. You just have to be willing to do it. I've got a bunch of TikTok channels, and not just TikTok, I'm also Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. You just have to try. Unfortunately, when it comes to being a small business owner, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it, a person who works for themselves online, I think we're so used to that way of life where it's like you graduate from school, from high school, from college, whatever, and you have a degree and you go and do something. Or, you get a certification and you do it. That's not what this is. Your certification, your education comes from just doing it. There's not going to be someone unless you pay somebody. I mean, there are places out there that can certify you for certain things. Usually it's just something they made up. So don't fall for that. I mean, there may be Google certifications. That is a thing. Apparently you can get a job with a Google certification, but you take classes, but that's not what this is about. This is about, I don't want to call it School of Hard Knocks. We've all heard that one. This is about the school of just doing it, just trying it, because it's got to be something that you love, that catches fire within you, something that you can at least stick with for long enough to make it a success, to monetize something, to get something off the ground. This is about finding what you're passionate about and doing it. I don't care what your education is. The thing that's going to get in your way the most is a lack of confidence. So to hopefully prevent that, keep things to yourself.